Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 327, Staying Present to What Is. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome. I'm so happy to have you at the Experience of the Soul, and we are beginning the Experience of the Soul podcast today. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host, and I'm here today in my studio with my fabulous producer.
Thanks. Hello, friends. I'm so happy to be here with you. Welcome to episode 327 of Experience of the Soul, Staying Present to What Is. Of course, before we get to the meat of the show, we want to do a couple little shout outs here. So we want to shout out to Cindy. I hope I'm saying this right.
Guerin.
Is it Cindy Guerin? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. So she's been great with us on Facebook, actively engaging, giving us, some likes and some comments and stuff. So we just want to say, Cindy, thank you for engaging there. It really does make a big difference. And so we appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great hearing from you that way, Cindy, and glad you've stayed connected. And also we're shouting out to a place.
Yes.
As well, aren't we?
Yes. Surprise, Arizona.
Surprise. Yes.
Have you been there? Do you know people there?
Well, I'm trying to think, do I know somebody there? But I believe I have been there, and I love Arizona so much. I was trying to picture where it was. I should have looked it up right before, because I am sure I have been there. But I do want to know who is listening from Surprise, Arizona, because I have some incredible friends there. I served a ministry for 3 years, Unity of Phoenix, as an associate minister, real early in my ministry in Unity. And I still have some great, great friends there. So thank you for listening.
So yes, friends, if you're listening, if you're downloading from Surprise, Arizona, definitely in the show notes there, the very first line in the show notes is send us a text message. So that makes it very easy for you to just, send us a real quick text. You click on the link, it'll open up your text messages, and it could be real easy for you just to send a little message and say, hey, this is who it is.
It's me.
It's me.
Yes, and if you don't want to share that, that's fine, of course.
Oh, yeah.
No problem.
But if you like.
But if you like, it's there and fun. And, Sean, we got that shout out a couple days ago from one of our listeners in Michigan, which I thought was really cool. And she had been doing some artwork while listening to the show. And I love knowing what people do. I've had people tell me they work out to the show every day. I was in the salt room one time, and I was signing in my son and I. It's a place where you go. It always feels like going to outer space to me, because the walls, everything is salt, and it's really good for your sinuses and for healing and stuff. Well, anyway, I walked in there, and my son was having allergy issues, so I was focused on him, trying to get him signed in. This is when he was a lot younger. And somebody said, I know this sounds weird, but I know your voice. And I said, that is weird. I didn't say anything, I said, that is weird. And she goes, oh, wait, are you the Cynthia Alice from the podcast? And then it was Authentic Spiritual Journey. And I said, yes, that's me. She said, I work out to you every morning. So I did not know your face, but I knew your voice.
That is so great.
Yeah. I've had people tell me they cook when they listen. I've had people tell me they clean their house when they listen, or drive to work. So that's the ones I've heard so far.
That's cool. It's like how we used to listen to the radio,
I know.
You'd be around the house and turn the radio on and just listen to whatever gets played, not playing your own playlist, but we love the playlist,
I know. Sean's like, I know you like those.
Keep the playlist coming. Somebody commented on something the other day, and I was like, oh, I feel a playlist coming on. Did you remember, somebody asked for a song suggestion for something out there? I can't remember the exact thing. I should have looked it up.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Yes. For those of you listening who don't know, I have a playlist for everything. And if I don't, I will make one.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Well, certain playlists help bring me into the present moment. And, they help me cut out the mental chatter. and that brings us beautifully into today's show.
Absolutely. So welcome officially, friends, to episode 327 of Experience of the Soul podcast, Staying Present to What Is.
Staying present to what is. I chose to do the show today. A lot of times I record standing, and my greatest time of presence, there's 2 times in my life on a regular basis that I feel most connected. One is when I'm doing a message. Another is when I'm simply sitting and breathing. Sometimes, as I mentioned, just a moment ago, sometimes I need help getting into the present moment with a song to help me shift the energy. And that helps bring me into the present moment. But why would I even be talking about this? Why would I even want to talk about the present moment? I'm going to tell you what Eckhart Tolle says. Eckhart Tolle, who's written many books. The first one I read that was the most impactful for my journey was The Power of Now. And he says, when you are present, when your attention is fully in the now, presence will flow into and transform what you do. There will be a quality and power in it. Beautiful. When you are present, when your attention is fully in the now, presence will flow into and transform what you do. There will be a quality and power in it. So my hope for you, my hope for my own life is that we can stay present enough to contact the power of God that's always available, so that not only is our life blessed, but that we can be a blessing to others and, quite frankly, to the world. As we bless one, we bless all. So in our humanness, especially now, there's a lot of images, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of reacting. And today's show is really about moving beyond that aspect of the mind totally. We almost are bypassing the mind and going into the soul that kind of contacts a different aspect of us. So in the world, we live in the mind of thinking. We live in the mind of reaction. There's that reptilian brain, at the back of our neck there, that kind of brain that or the aspect of the brain that reacts when there is danger, But some of us are reacting like that to someone walking into the room or, a basic activity. In other words, we're in a state culturally and even in our world of hyper reactivity. We're overreacting. And I found that the more I can center in God, the less reactive I become, the more thoughtful I become, the more inner power I can access. And of course, that inner power is holy power. It's God power. It's love, it's forgiveness, it's generosity, it's peace. And so ultimately, I would say, if you said, well, why should I want to stay present to what is? Because it brings you peace. Because it brings you peace. And I don't like the feeling of lost. I don't like the feeling of anger all the time. I don't like the feeling of confusion and reactivity. I don't like that feeling. I like the feeling of staying present. I like the feeling of knowing my worth. I like the feeling of spaciousness. And for me, that's probably, I'd say, the feeling of peace and this feeling of inner spaciousness is the greatest gift in this practice. It's like somehow inside, like at the heart, I become a larger, more expansive. I have more space for others and their journey. I have more ability to access inner wisdom, and as I parent or as I walk through life and say yes or no to certain opportunities, like I want to make those decisions from this sense of connection and presence, knowing that, as Eckhart Tolle says, there's a quality, there's a power in it, and it transforms what you do. And I'll give you a quick example. My son is a senior in high school, and he came in the other day and didn't say much, which is fine. He has a lot going on, and normally I might try to interact, but I had just done like it was like a 5-minute meditation in my bedroom, and I'd done some deep breathing and came out, was getting some water, and he walks through the door from school. So I almost started saying, "Hey, tell me about your day," whatever. And I was really guided. No, just give him space. He's had a big week. And so it's a little thing. And then later, I don't know, a couple hours later, we connected, and then he told me several things that had been going on, and they were good, but he did have a lot on his mind. And so because I had been present, I didn't need anything from him. I just provided the space that if he wanted to talk, he could. And if he didn't have to. And I started thinking, gosh, as a teenager, I remembered I loved when I had space just to think about things. I loved just being able to go in my room and shut the door and think about things, and then later come out and interact. And so at the time, I was just following that inner guidance and just feeling into the energy of where he was, and I could give him that space. But if I'm in a place of unconsciousness or neediness or whatever, I could say, well, tell me about your day. I've got stuff coming up, and, quick, tell me how your day was. You know what I mean? So it was really just a wonderful connection all evening. I had to work a little bit. He had homework to do. When we connected, it was great. But it was from this place of knowing we're already connected. Right. We're already good. And that arose out of my connection with God. As I said a few weeks ago, the most important thing you can do is pray. Today is another extension of that. The prayer, the meditation helps bring us into consciousness, into conscious awareness. It helps bring us into the present moment. So if we knew that every present moment was full of God and surrounding us, enfolding us, how do you think we would feel? Think about that. Every moment is full of the presence of God. Like when I can just drop into that knowing, I feel so much power and energy, and I feel so much support from God, from the universe itself, from Jesus. I just know that whatever is happening, even if I don't understand it, somehow God is helping me in this. Somehow God is helping me in this. Every moment is full of the presence of God. Think about that. So if that's true, then what are we worried about, friends? What are we worried about? It's like our whole culture has a culture of worrying now. And if you worry too much, there's a medication for it, right? So, yeah. So if I said to you right now, where are you? You might say, what do you mean where I am? So when you're in presence, let me tell you what your answer is. Where are you? The answer is here. Well, what time is it? It's now. In this moment is where I am. Where are you? Here. What time is it? Now. In ministerial school, I had a good friend. He's since passed away. His name was Robbie Fonestock. And Robbie had been in school, was a basketball player, and he'd always been his own kind of smart. I don't know how to say that, but he made his living before becoming a minister. He was a professional gambler, believe it or not. And he had a crisis of healing, and it really moved in his life, and he became really present to God. And so part of his practice, I think because he'd had that, experience of near death, of just staying in the now moment. Excuse me. And in school, one day we had all these activities after school, and I would go to school in the morning and I was working in the afternoon. And anyway, we were in a group together, and I had forgotten my watch. There wasn't a clock up on the wall. So I said, Robbie, what time is it? He looked at his watch and he goes, now. I said, Robbie, okay, I love you, man, but I get it. Okay, what time is it? He goes, now. And he points to his watch. I said, so are you not going to tell me? He goes, no, really, look, my watch says now. And his watch looked like a watch, but there were no hands on it. And all it said across the middle was now. Oh, I said, you know what? I'm just going to surrender then. It's now. Apparently it doesn't matter. Apparently it doesn't matter what time it is, because it's now. And if I can be present to now, the next moment will make itself known to me if I need to move or change or grow or, move on to the next activity. I'll remove my watch. I find it interesting that often when I'm doing spiritual things, if I'm doing sacred ceremony out by the fire, or I'm at a powwow, or I'm meditating, I don't like to have a watch on at all, because it just anchors me to thinking about, what time is it? Where do I need to be? And so you might say, well, we do have schedules. Yes, we do. And I just have learned to set aside enough time now that, like today has been a busy day, but then there's going to be hours this afternoon where I have some flex time, and I'm about to go away for 2 days. I'm going to do a hike in the woods. I'm going to go over a really cool bridge where I can look over the top of trees. So I create time in my life and in my world to not care what time it is, on purpose. A lot of times now, like in my vehicle, if I can help it, I don't take a phone with me. Yes, there's a clock in my truck, but my point is I try not to be always thinking. Sometimes we just need space to be present to what is. So as I'm mentioning all this, I wanted to, suggest a movie for you. It's hard to find now. The movie is called Way of the Peaceful Warrior, and it's based on the book by the same name by the author Dan Millman. I've seen the movie probably, 30 times probably, and read the book, and I've used a lot of Dan's materials. They're very, very deep. He has another book called The Life You Were Born to Live. Great, great author, deeply spiritual soul. And I put a link in the show notes. You can actually watch the movie, I believe, now on YouTube. It has Arabic subtitles with the one I sent you, but it's free, I believe, the one I put in there. It used to be available on Amazon. I'm just mentioning that if you're looking for it, at least start with this link and check it. But it'd be really, really worth you watching, because the main character, who is a gymnast, and Dan Millman was a gymnast. This is based on his journey into presence and into wholeness. Going from a real personality-based human being to a soul-based experience. So I think you would really enjoy it if you enjoy thinking about spiritual things. And also it's pretty cool because it's from an athlete's perspective. And where he gets to in consciousness, in my view, is really magical. So think about it. Where am I? Am I thinking that I'm thinking, or am I here now? So sometimes the work I will do is I'll ask myself, I'll just be in the middle of something. I go, wait, where are you? If I'm too in my mind, wait, where are you? Here. And then I will do what my good friend, Reverend Lei Lanni Burt does, which is breathe. She'll say, breathe and go to your heart. Breathe and go to your heart. Breathe and go to your heart. See if you can do that right now. If you're driving, don't do this. I don't want you to go into an altered state while you're driving. But whatever else you might be doing, breathe and go to your heart and see if you can shift into that energy of presence, that presence of God. Sometimes it helps as you breathe to place your hand over your heart, which is what I'm doing. Even on YouTube, you probably can't see it, but there you go. I put my hand right over my heart. Breathe and go to your heart. When I can breathe and go to my heart, it puts me deep in the presence of God. I'm sure you can hear in my voice, I'm not trying to change my voice. I can just sense there's a different energy in me right now because I'm so deeply in that place. So as we do this, we tend to look at life from a higher perspective because we are connected to the source of all life. So we are looking through the lens of the soul rather than the lens of the personality. So like when we are in the personality and people are trying to breathe and meditate, we'll say, oh, why is this taking so long? But if we just go, you know what, I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to breathe and go to my heart. And boy, all those thoughts just go away. But you have to be willing to surrender the aspects of the personality and ego to be in this level of connection with God. You say, well, I don't know how to breathe and go to my heart. Yes, you do. Nobody's ever taught you because you're going to teach yourself. If you're not sure, just say, I surrender to you, God. I want to breathe and go to my heart. I want to be present in the presence. I want to be able to say, where am I? Here. What time is it? Now. This place of connection and peace, joy, all knowledge lives here. And then from that place, just take a few deep breaths. Breathe and go to your heart. If your mind starts thinking that you're thinking again, take another deep breath. Place your attention in your heart and breathe again. Breathe again. I'm going to breathe and go to my heart. And as you rest in this place, remember that every moment is full of the presence of God. And that as you can remain in this place, you begin to love what is rather than always reacting, always angry, always fussing, always overthinking and overprotecting. Simply be, love what is right in this very moment. And if something's happening around you don't understand, rather than reacting, you're asking for the lesson, you're asking for the insight, you're asking for the awareness from this place. Breathe and go to your heart. As Eckhart Tolle said, when you are present, when your attention is fully in the now, presence will flow into and transform what you do. There will be a quality and power in it. So just allow yourself the spaciousness as we breathe for a few moments together. If you start thinking again, simply say, I surrender to you, God. I'm going to breathe and go to my heart. Breathe and go to your heart. I surrender to you, God. I'm going to breathe and go to my heart. So we simply give thanks for this place of awareness, giving thanks, God, that you have provided us with everything we need, and that in every moment, as we seek your presence, that you are here. That in every moment is full of you, full of God presence. Our prayer is to remember to pause, to stay present to what is, so that we can experience your love, your goodness, your joy, your peace, and that we can be a blessing to our family and even to the world through our living example of your love. So for this time together today to remember this truth, we are grateful, we are blessed, and so it is. Amen. So thank you so much for listening today, dear friends. This is my hope for you, that you love yourself enough to stay present to what is and experience the good God has for you. Blessings on the journey, my friends. See you next week.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2024 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore. A production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated. Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience, with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.